Hello, my name is Matt Y, and I've been asked to reach out and speak to you today on the concerns of check fraud rising in the world. Check fraud seems to be the most apparent type of fraud that companies are seeing these days, while ransomware seems to take the majority of the headlines because of the multi-million-dollar transaction numbers. Check fraud is actually the most common type of fraud that businesses experience. Currently in the U.S., business-to-business transactions consist 70% of checks and 30% of electronic transactions. Check is the easiest type of transaction for fraudsters. It seems to be the one that currently in the US is being used the most. In Canada and Europe, for example, they only use checks in 30% of their business-to-business transactions. Now, while it used to be a little more difficult for the fraudster in check fraud, now it's as simple as having a smartphone in the office. For example, if you send one of your vendors a check in the mail and that check happens to be sitting on their desk of their accounts receivable employee, all it takes is a fraudster to walk through the office with their smartphone camera on and scan the top of a desk. At that point, they have your account number, your routing number, and your business name. Making fraudulent checks at that point is as easy as going to a local store, buying check printing software, and the first three questions that the software is going to ask is your business name, your account, and your routing number. At that point, the fraudster is writing checks off of your account. Now, this can be circumvented with check fraud products. Check reconciling programs can help in association with your bank work so that your bank has a copy of your check registry, and then they can bounce all checks against that registry before giving payment to the vendor. They can assure that payee name, payee amount, date, and check company name are all correct before allowing funds out the door. My preference and suggestion would be a move to electronic transactions. ACH transactions, credit card transactions, and wire transactions are all much safer than check. They reduce the amount of fraud that happens on businesses, and they actually are cheaper to process. The average check is about $7 for a company to process when you take into account time and supplies. The average ACH transaction is less than $1. ACH does come with fraud risks because you are allowing a company to debit your account, and they have to have your account and routing number to do that. To prevent the fraud, large national and regional banks can supply you with fraud filter programs for ACH, where you can limit who has access to the account, how much they have access to, and how often. Making this move to ACH is much safer than processing check. We will never 100% fully get away from check transactions. It's very convenient for some certain types of businesses, but a move to electronic transactions can reduce your risk of fraud. The Better Business Bureau has a study that says 1 out of every 2 companies, so 50% of companies, will have check fraud sometime in the next 2 years. Don't allow it to happen to you. Move to electronic transactions where you can. And when you can't, make sure you have a check reconciling program in tow. Hopefully this helps, and I thank you for your time. Have a great day.